Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. We have a loaded slate today. 11 games on deck. We're going to fly through each and every single one of these games. I'll give you my picks, props, and predictions in each and every one of them. Now, we're off a hot night last night. If you played some of those player props, especially those power play points, we got Austin Matthews for the goal. It was fantastic. And Sidney Crosby coming out with that 1600th point, as well as then winning that game in overtime. Fantastic day yesterday. Let's continue to roll into today. Let's make some freaking money, you guys. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for being here. I want to remind you to go over and download the SportsGrid app. If you don't have it, you will find my Madden quickie over there later today for tonight's NFL game. We're going to start off here with the matchup. The first one on deck. Let me just pull up FanDuel. We're going to look at the Buffalo Sabres taking on. No, let's first go to, that's not today. The first one we have here. Just give me 1 second, you guys. Why am I drawing a blank on the first game that we've got on deck? It's one of those days. Okay. The first game we have on deck that we're going to talk about here is 1 minute. How is everyone's morning starting, by the way? I hope everyone's having a fantastic start to the morning. As you can tell, it is early here. I'm on coffee number 4. Coffee number 4. Yeah. So we're going to start off with the Dallas Stars. That's where we're going versus the Washington Capitals over on FanDuel. Sorry, guys, I couldn't get my tab open properly. We've got the Dallas Stars rolling as a favorite at plus 152 and the Washington Capitals at plus 126. This total sitting at 5.5. And this is an interesting total because I know it is low, but I'm still leaning to this one towards the under. The under 5.5 coming in at plus 110. Now, we know how that goes. When you've got a 5.5, 3-2 style game, we get that goal pushing us either the empty net or pushing us to overtime, it blows that 5.5. It's so hard to stay under the 5.5. But I'm looking here at the goaltending matchup. Jake Ottinger expected in net tonight for the Dallas Stars. He's been fantastic to start the season. He has a goals against average of 1.63 on 97 shots on his net. Can he hold this? He absolutely can versus the Washington Capitals here. We know the Washington Capitals, they've been stepping up offensively to start the season, but this isn't known as a hot offensive team. They've been able to score those 7 goals in their first 2 games. So that is clicking, and their power play is really strong. That power play is converting. That power play is converting at 33.3%. The kills so far has been fantastic, though, here for the Dallas Stars. And they are allowing those shots, but with Ottinger in goal, I don't have the fear that the Washington Capitals are going to push this one to the over. Now, the Dallas Stars as the favorite at minus 152. It's interesting. This has gone up 10 points since about an hour ago. We were seeing them right around that minus 142 mark. I do think there's value on the home dog in the Washington Capitals at plus 126. I'm going to jump on that. That hasn't moved as much. They were plus 120 earlier in the day. They're coming up the win versus the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2. So this team has proven that they can lock down opponents offensively or on their defensive side. I like what the defense is doing. They're stepping up more so. And we saw that in that game versus Vegas, only allowing 2 goals to Vegas because we know how strong Vegas is offensively. But over the last 2 games, they've allowed 7 goals. So the majority of those goals did come in that first game, allowing those 5. They've only allowed 2 in the last game. So I'm looking for this team to be a dangerous underdog, even though the Dallas Stars are undefeated on the season. They're 4-0. I do think the Washington Capitals can get the win. Now, Ovi, we got to look at Ovechkin here. He's got 3 assists. His anytime goal yet to record a goal in the season's plus 165. His 4+ shots on goal coming in at plus 162, I think holds so much value here. I do think with the Dallas Stars allowing those shots to come in, allowing an average of 30.5 shots on goal. And this team offensively being able to put up those shots, being able to put up those goals. Ovi for the goal, plus 165, and 4+ shots on goal, plus 162. He had 6 shots versus the Vegas Golden Knights, 7 shots versus the New Jersey Devils. So 4+ should be something that he can get in this game tonight. Now, if you're looking at the Dallas Stars and you want to bet the Dallas Stars here for anything, I would look at Jason Robinson. He needs to step up in this game. We know last season, phenomenally strong, 29 goals, 51 assists. We're yet to see that goal out of Jason Robinson as of yet. His anytime goal coming in at plus 175. I will hit it as well. Kev rolling with the Capitals on the money line as a dog. I love it here. Plus 126, you guys. Dangerous underdog. You're going to take Dallas's team total over 3.5. And I don't blame you. The Capitals have been proving they're allowing these goals in that 2 games ago. They did lock down Vegas in the last one. Let's move on to the next game. We have the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Current odds on FanDuel, the Vegas Golden Knights coming in at plus 120. And we have the Tampa Bay Lightning at home at minus 144. Now, this is juiced to the under 6.5 at minus 128. Both of these teams have proven they're able to get those goals. So if you're thinking this is a 4-3 style game, which it very could be if it goes to overtime, that's coming in at plus 104. When I look at the goaltending matchup, we have Adin Hill versus Andrei Vasilevskiy. Now we know Vasilevskiy has been strong for this team. He has numbers versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, Las Vegas Golden Knights. Coming in, he's 5-4-3 in his career with a 3.21 goals against average and a save percentage under 900. It's an 895. So we have seen Vegas be able to hit Andrei Vasilevskiy in the past, which is another reason it pushes me to this over. When we look at the Vegas Golden Knights, Adin Hill expected here. We look at Adin Hill versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's 1-2 with a 3.96 goals against average, but a 944 save percentage. Now, when we look at both of these teams to start the season, both are averaging right around 4 goals per game. The Lightning right on that 4 goals per game, and the Vegas Golden Knights at 4.25. The power play is converting here for Vegas at 30.8%. They're only averaging 26.8 shots on goal per game, though. So defenses aren't allowing them to shoot as many, but the shots they are getting through. When we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, like I said, 4 shots or 4 goals per game. Their shots on goal sitting around 25. So limited shots for this team as well. That power play is only converting at 18.2%. They haven't been able to score on that power play very regularly to start the season here. Their kill is strong, though, at 85.7. The kill is weak here for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I do think we see more from the Tampa Bay Lightning on the power play today versus a team that has a weak kill in Vegas in this one. I'm going to look at, even though I think this game has every opportunity to go over, I'm going to look at the goaltending here. And even though these goalies have struggled slightly versus these teams, like they're not terrible numbers, I'm going to look for the first period for these defenses to lock down just because of what we're seeing with those limited shots on goal by both of these teams. I think we have a slower first period that I can see opening up in the second and the third. And I hope it doesn't open up in the first and then quiet down in the second. But I'm looking for that defensive goaltending play in the first period. And I'll take the first period under 1.5 goals at plus 102. I just think slow start to this game. If you're looking for the trends to the over, these two do trend to that over. They combine over 6.5 goals their last 4 games straight. Jake Guentzel, Braden Point, Kucherov are who you want to look at here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov already has 3 goals and 16 assists versus a Vegas Golden Knights. So he's definitely a player you want to look at tonight. He's already got 4 goals and 1 assist on the season. When we look at Jake Guentzel, 3 assists, so yet to find the back of the net himself. And Braden Point, 2 goals and 1 assist. Jack Eichel for the Vegas Golden Knights, he's been phenomenally strong. So is Mark Stone. But Jack Eichel versus the Lightning has 4 goals and 13 assists over 21 games versus the Lightning. So those are players I'd look at. My best bet in this one is a slow start. First period under 1.5. Okay, Let's look at the Buffalo Sabres versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. You guys know I'm high on the Buffalo Sabres for the season. They haven't come out of the gate how I wanted to see them, but I do still think this is a play on team, just not here tonight. The Buffalo Sabres at minus 154. I'm not willing to lay that kind of juice on this team. I don't think they deserve to be that big of a favorite rolling into Columbus. So Columbus at plus 128. They were so competitive. They really did outplay the Florida Panthers in that last game, but they weren't able to hold on to the win. They're plus 128 at home, and that's the way I'm going to go. And now we have a total of 6.5. The 6.5 is juiced to the under at minus 120. Levi expected here for the Buffalo Sabres, and Tarasov, not Elvis, expected for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So when I look at this, I do think Tarasov and Devin Levi will be giving up those goals in this game. These two teams also trend to the over when they meet up versus each other. Now we have the Buffalo Sabres off a competitive game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, which they lost in overtime, 6-5 loss there. And then we have, like I said, the Columbus Blue Jackets off the loss in their home opener to the Florida Panthers, 4-3. I'm going to look for the Columbus Blue Jackets to come out strong in the first period at plus 102 on the money line. And then I will look at them for the full game as well. I'm going to put a half a unit on the first period and a half a unit on the full game for Columbus. Now, I do think the first period equals goals straight out of the gate. I could see it being a 2-3 first period here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, a 2-1 first period equaling 3 goals. So I'm going to look at the first period over 1.5 at minus 138. I'm going to take the game over 6.5 as a lead as well. 7-2-1 in the last 10 to the over between these two. Buffalo has won 4 of the last 6 against Columbus. So they have played this team a strong, but I'm just not loving this team at this price on the road. So I'd rather take a shot on the Columbus Blue Jackets. The next game on a deck, the LA Kings. Now, the LA Kings are facing the Montreal Canadiens, with the LA Kings coming in at minus 140 and plus 116 for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, total of 5.5 in this matchup. Minus 134 to the over and plus 110 to the under here. Copley expected for the LA Kings and Sam Montague expected here for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the difference between these goaltenders right now is extreme. I do think with the fire that we see lit under Montreal, this young, talented offensive core that is explosive, we will see Montreal get the goals on Phoenix Copley. I'm not sure if Sam Montague will let those goals come in because the defense in front of him is playing nice and strong at home. I'm going to take Montreal's team total to the over. The problem is on FanDuel, the over 2.5 is juiced at minus 156. They're not giving you an over 3.5. I really do think Montreal can win this 4-2. We see the LA Kings are struggling out there on defense. Things are just getting worse. This is the second night of a back-to-back. They put up 2 goals versus Toronto. You guys know we're riding them under 2.5 yesterday. I was stressing in those last couple minutes of that game as the Kings pushed, but they weren't able to get things done. And I do think Montreal's defense can again hold this LA Kings team to the under on their team total. But what I trust more is this team, Montreal's team offensively, to get those goals on the board. You look here at the LA Kings, they're allowing an average of 4.25 goals per game on 31.5 shots on net. Their kill is weak. They're only killing 70% of their opponent's power plays. When we look here at the power play for the Montreal Canadiens, it's converting at 23.5%. On the other side, the LA Kings, they've got a weak face-off. They're only converting at 21.1% on the power play, averaging 3.25 goals. Yes, Montreal's only averaging those 3 on 26, but I do think Montreal at home is where you need to go. So if you can ult that number to over 3.5, for some reason, that prop isn't up on FanDuel, but I did find it in other places, the over 3.5 coming in right around that plus 150 mark. So you're getting so much better value taking them over the 3.5. Who am I going to look at to score those goals? Cole Caulfield, first period goal here for the Montreal Canadiens at plus 700. 2+ shots on goal in the first period. I haven't bet these shots on goal in the first period yet, you guys. I thought this was an interesting look at plus 210. We know the Kings on the second night of a back-to-back here tired legs. This defense is struggling. They're going to try to shut down Caulfield, but I could see him getting 2 shots right out of the gate in the first period, and then maybe being contained in the second and the third. But first period at plus 210, I'll put a little sprinkle on that. Now, Nick Suzuki has yet to get on the scoreboard. He's coming in at plus 210 for the anytime goal. His first period goal at plus 850. He's been getting those assists on the board, 3+ assists. Now, I also like Montreal to score first in the first period. It's coming in at plus 140. So we haven't bet that yet, but I do like how Montreal has been playing. The Kings in the middle of this long road trip. I believe it's a 7-game road trip here for them. This team needs to get home, and they're taking too many penalties for me to trust them. So if you want to look at Montreal, I know Caulfield was able to get a shorty already on the season, but if you want to look for Montreal for their power play points in this game, this would be the game. Look at the top line. Look at those players. And, we've got Caulfield on that top line. So look at him for the power play points tonight. I think they get it done here at home. I will take them straight up on the money line. The New Jersey Devils taking on the Ottawa Senators is the next game. The Devils, off that loss versus the Carolina Hurricanes, their first time listed as underdogs. I went against I went as an underdog in that one, and it cost me. They're minus 138 now facing the Ottawa Senators, plus 115 for the Senators at home. We got a total 6.5. Now this is minus 110 either side of the 6.5. I do think New Jersey, off that loss to Carolina, could come out strong in this first period, could win the first period here. So I would be looking at them. I'd be looking at their team total over 3.5 as well. That's coming in at plus 112. I think this is a higher scoring game. We know the Ottawa Senators in that last game versus the Kings, they allowed a Kings team that has struggled to score against everyone else to put up 8 goals. So they're off that loss to the Kings. Oh, actually, no, they won. Sorry. They allowed the Kings to put up 7. They put up 8. They got the win in OT. So they allowed 7 goals to the LA Kings. And the New Jersey Devils are firing offensively. Could they overlook the Ottawa Senators here, though? And could the Ottawa Senators come out with a big burst offensively? They absolutely could. This team is averaging 4 goals per game on 32.3 shots on goal. Their power play. This is the team you want to bet on that power play, but maybe not in this one. Their power play is converting at 38.5% of the time, third best overall in the league. But the kill here for the LA Kings is 93.7%, third best overall in the league. We're seeing the Senators allowing 4 goals and 28 shots. They've got a weak kill at 63.6%. They cannot go in the penalty box. The conversion rate for the Devils, though, it's not as strong. It's only 20%. They're averaging 29 shots on goal and 3.17 goals per game. I do think they can find the back of the net. This is going to be a top power play versus an elite kill here. It will be interesting to see which team comes out on top of this one. My biggest concern here is the kill of the Ottawa Senators. If they're in the box nonstop, they will lose this game, and we will see the Devils scoring. I can't trust the Sens to stay out of the box, so I do think the Devils team total over 3.5. Could this be a 5-4 win, though, for the Ottawa Senators? It absolutely could, and we got a home dog in the Ottawa Senators. I'm actually interested. Let me just pull up again. I forgot to look at who the Devils have next on deck. And that's going to be huge for me because I do think with how the Devils have played the Ottawa Senators, they could be overlooking this team in this matchup, thinking they should be able to come in and get a nice win. Now, this is the second game on the road. They saw the Canes on the road. They have the Washington Capitals at home on Saturday and then Tuesday versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. This could be a nice overlook spot here for this road game. So I think there's some value on Ottawa for the full game, but the Devils team total over 3.5 for my best bet. If you're looking for who can get those points, those goals out there, I think Josh Norris here for the Ottawa Senators, someone you want to circle for an anytime goal. He's coming in at plus 260. Now, Brady Tkachuk for the power play point, because of how strong this power play has been, is plus 280. For the anytime goal, he's at plus 160. So those are the players that circle from Ottawa. If we're looking here at the New Jersey Devils, I think we can look further down the list. This power play It's only been converting at 20%, but we kill here for the Sens. So I do think the Devils will convert on the power play. So Dougie Hamilton, he is on the top power play line. He's plus 430 for the point on the power play. It's great value, guys. You've got a defenseman on the power play. I expect that point to come via an assist, but at plus 430 for the power play point, I love. If you just want to take him for the point in this game, because I do expect that assist to come, he's coming in at minus 104. You've got Nico Hischier not available on FanDuel. We saw that with Cale Makar last night, and that hit. So if you want to take Nico Hischier for the power play point, you can look elsewhere because I think it's going to come in. Jack Hughes on the top power play at plus 230 and Jasper Bratt on the power play at plus 285 and Timo Meier at plus 350. So much value. If you just want to look at all of the players on the top power play here for the New Jersey Devils to get a point tonight and kind of work around with those parlays, I think it's a strong way to go in this matchup against a weak kill. And then if you're looking at the Sens, the Senators, even though it's an elite kill here for the Devils, I think with how high it's clicking, we're still going to see those power play points come in. So if I was going to parlay anything, you know what I would do? I would look at both of these teams and parlay them together. I would take Jack Hughes for a power play point, Dougie Hamilton for a power play point, I would just take Brady Tkachuk for the power play point. All three of those guys, you're going to get probably 15-1 for those power play points to come in. If you just take it for the points, you're probably going to get 5-1 to your money. Let's look at the Vancouver Canucks. Winless on the season, you guys. They are rolling into Florida at a pick-em price. Now, Florida returning from a road trip. They're coming in at minus 110 off of the emotional win versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're still out. Matthew Tkachuk and Barkov. So missing two hot elements from their offensive core. This total sitting at 5.5. So it makes sense why we got a 5.5. Minus 118 to the over, minus 104 to the under. Lankanen expected here for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, he's been strong to start the season. He stopped 29 of 31 shots on his net in his debut versus the Flyers. And when we look here at Florida, Bobrovsky at this point is expected. He's allowing just 5 goals on the last 57 shots on his net. So he's been standing tall. Vancouver hasn't been averaging the number of goals we all expected out there. And they're only averaging 25.7 shots on goal. They're winning the faceoff, so over 55% of the time, and they're converting on the power play 25%. Now, when we look at their defense is allowing these goals to come in. Part of it has been goaltending, but Lankanen here, I do have some faith in. They're taking too many penalties as well. It's not good. Averaging 12.3 minutes in the box, and their kill is solid though at 83.3%. But when we look here at the Florida Panthers, without Matthew Tkachuk, without Barkov, I do think offensively that is a huge hit for this team, even though we've been able to see them get some wins without them. They're averaging 3.4 goals per game. They're returning here from a road trip, and I do think from a 4-game road trip, I think this could be a spot for Vancouver to get on the board today. The books are kind of telling me so, not making them an underdog when they're 0-3 on the season versus the reigning Stanley Cup champs. I'm going to hit on the Vancouver Canucks. I'll also look at them in the first period to come out and make a statement in the first period of this game. I think also the Panthers team total under 2.5, even though it's terrifying to take a Florida Panthers team under 2.5 at plus 118. It just feels like this is a 3-2 win for the Vancouver Canucks in this one. I'm also going to look at the no goals in the first 10 minutes coming in at plus 108. These are scary bets, you guys, but got to look for that plus money when we can get it. So I would look for the no goals in the first 10 minutes as well. And I'm going to count on Lankanen and Bobrovsky both to stand on their heads in this game. For the offense here without Tkachuk and Barkov to be tired for the Florida Panthers, and Vancouver to just have a fire lit to finally get a win on the road. They've lost their last 3 off the 4-1 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So offense hasn't been clicking out there for them. Let's look at the New York Rangers. The Rangers rolling in here hot, minus 152 on the money line. The Detroit Red Wings at plus 126. Total sitting at 6.5, minus 114 to the under, which is interesting. Okay, so we look at this one. The Red Wings offensively, this team has looked sluggish out there, only averaging 2.33 goals per game, 28.7 shots on goal. Their power play is so weak, only converted so far at 9.1% of the time, and they're not winning those faceoffs, only winning 44.6% of the faceoffs. Now, these teams did just face each other on Monday. The Rangers were at home. They won it 4-1 with Igor Shesterkin in goal. Igor saved 31 of 32 shots on his net. So we did see the Rangers allow more shots than they normally do on Igor Shesterkin, and the Red Wings started Alex Leon, who saved 27 shots on his net. So different goaltending matchup in this one, and now it's in Detroit. Jonathan Quick expected here for the New York Rangers. He's 15-14-1 in his 30 games with a goals against average of 2.81 and a save percentage of .905 versus the Red Wings in his career. So the Red Wings have been able to score on Jonathan Quick. Cam Talbot is confirmed in goal. We know he's going to be in 100% here for the Detroit Red Wings. He's 6-5 in 11 games versus the New York Rangers. Save percentage of .910 with a goals against average of 2.65. I am going to trust Cam Talbot to do better than Alex Leon did in goal in the last game. I do think offensively, the Red Wings need a spark and they need to start stepping up. It's scary though. You look at their team total over 2.5. The books are thinking so as well because the over 2.5 is so juicy, guys, at minus 154. You know I can't hit on that. I'm going to look at the Red Wings to come out in the first period and try to win this first period as the Rangers think, well, we rolled over them 4-1 at home in the last game. Maybe overlook at them a little bit here, but this Rangers team won't say die in this matchup. So I'll look at the Red Wings in the first period straight up on the money line. Tarasenko is day-to-day with illness, but on the other side for the New York Rangers, Chris Kreider, hugely impactful in the last game for the Rangers. He's day-to-day with illness as well. We have Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat still for this Red Wings team. Both are tied for first on the team with 2 goals and 3 points. So 2 goals and 1 assist for both of these players. I do think they step up here at home and get something done versus Rangers. Give me the Red Wings first period money line plus 110. Let's look at, you're going to sprinkle OT in this game. I don't blame you. This one definitely could go to overtime. Let's look at the New York Islanders taking on the St. Louis Blues. Over on FanDuel, we have the Islanders coming in at minus 140, plus 116 for the St. Louis Blues, total of 5.5 at minus 130. You guys in the comments and in the links below, make sure you tell me which game do you think is going to overtime today. Those overtime bets, you know, they're normally at plus 370. And they can cash nicely. We've seen a lot of games so far go to overtime. So let me know what you're thinking on the overtime bets. But the Islanders versus St. Louis Blues, this one total sitting at 5.5, minus 130 to the over and plus 106 to the under. The New York Islanders rolling in as a favorite at minus 140 and plus 116 for this St. Louis Blues team that never gives up. We look at the goaltending. Sorokin is expected here for the Islanders. Now, I faded him in the first game, and he was absolutely fantastic coming back from injury. I didn't expect him to look as sharp, but I should have gone with the trends that Sorokin in October, November is a bet on because Sorokin starts season so phenomenally hot. He saved 32 of 34 shots on his net. I'm going to count on Sorokin to limit the St. Louis Blues, and this is a St. Louis Blues team that offensively hasn't been elite out there. They're only averaging 3 goals per game on 28.8 shots on goal. They are winning those faceoffs, the power play converting at 25%. But I think here the core of the St. Louis Blues is their defense. This defense can lock opponents down. Their kill is coming in at 70%. And I do think here they lock down the New York Islanders as well. I'm looking for a defensive battle between these two teams. Again, that under 5.5 at plus 106 is where I will go with this one, just because it's Sorokin versus Binghamton. Binghamton coming in here 1-2 in the season with a 3.02 goals against average and a save percentage under 900. But I'm looking for that step up in this one, and I'm looking for the Blues to give him support defensively in this. Now, the first period, I will also take under the 5.5. When I like a game under 5.5, most of the times I really love that under 1.5 in the first period. That's coming in at minus 112. I do think if you're looking at a game to go under, but you're expecting one of these teams to come out and score hot in the first period, wait for the live betting opportunities for those goals to come in the first period, for that total to be jacked up and for the juice to be lowered on the under. And I think that is a great way to attack it. But a 5.5 here, I do think we could go scoreless into the second period, which is going to drop this total to 4.5. So I will bet the under 1.5 now in the first period, and I will bet the under 5.5 for the game. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Nashville Predators. The Oilers rolling in off a win, you guys. We get to say it. Edmonton finally got that win on the board versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Now they're minus 134 here on the money line. The Nashville Predators at plus 112. Total of 6.5. 6.5 actually juiced to the under at minus 112 on FanDuel. Currently minus 108 to the over. Skinner versus Saros. That is your goaltending matchup. Stuart Skinner, I still can't trust here for the Edmonton Oilers. And the problem with the Oilers are they're offside so very much. They've had so many goals taken back. Goaltending interference has been a huge thing for this team. The Nashville Predators off that home loss to the Seattle Kraken 7-3. They're 0-3 to start the season. This team eager to get the win. First road game here for the Edmonton Oilers off that overtime win versus the Flyers. It was a comeback win for them as well. The Predators have plenty of talent, and I do think offensively we can see them really step up in those goals. It's interesting to see this team only averaging 2 goals per game. They have the most shots on goal on average overall in the league, averaging 37 shots on net. The Edmonton Oilers are being stronger on defense, locking opponents down to 24.5 shots on goal per game. But goaltending is the weakness. The goaltending, again, allowing 4.5 goals per game. They have a weak kill. Their kills only stopping opponents 56.2% of the time. The power play is weak here, though, for the Preds. They've only converted 9.1%. I'm going to look here for the Predators to go over their team total. It's 3.5. I know Edmonton's limiting opponents, but Skinner's still going to let these goals come in. Over 3.5, we're getting plus money with the Predators. I think this could be a 5-4 win either way for these teams. I'm going to look at Jonathan Marchessault here for the Predators to come out and get the goal at plus 220. I'm also going to take him for 4+ shots on goal at plus 154. In the last game, he had 4 shots. The game before, he had 3. In the game before, he had 6. I think he really does stand up. Now, I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic between Steven Stamkos and Corey Perry out there on the ice. These two players, there's been fireworks when they faced up against each other on the various teams they played in over the years. So I'm looking for the fireworks between those, which leads to penalties. Corey Perry, that last game, how many penalties did he get? Because he was chippy and he just wanted to drop his gloves, it seemed, left, right, and center. So I do think the power play will be able to convert here for the Predators, even though we've seen it weaker on the season. So give me their team total over 3.5. Could Edmonton walk away with the win? They could, but I still don't want to put my money on Edmonton. They had to go to overtime versus the Flyers. It's like, come on. This team still is struggling out there, even though they got the win. Next, let's look at the San Jose Sharks taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks, the favorite in this one, we don't get to say that very often, you guys. They're minus 184 on the money line. Total of 5.5, which I was shocked. This is only a 5.5. We look at both of these teams, and yes, they've struggled to get those goals, but weaker defensive defensive course for both of these teams. I do like it to the over 5.5. The problem is you're gonna have to lay the juice. The over 5.5 coming in at -134. The Sharks, the dog, at +152. Looking at this, Blackwood versus Peter Mrazek. Peter Mrazek actually made some really nice saves on that Western Conference or the Alberta double-double versus Edmonton and Calgary. I really liked what we saw out of him. He made some great ones out there. But I do think in this matchup, we're looking at defenses that are allowing those shots. The kill actually for the Sharks, they've yet to allow their opponent to score, but the power play has been really strong here for the Chicago Blackhawks, averaging 33.3 conversion rate. They're only averaging 2.25 goals per game on 27 shots, though. And then when we look at the Sharks, they're averaging 2 on 28.7. Power play is only clicking at 12.5. I do think here this is a game. Home opener for the Chicago Blackhawks. You look for those points, those goals to come rolling in for both of these teams. I think Chicago gets a win, but I'm not laying the puck line for the Chicago Blackhawks. Laying 1.5 is +138. I just don't trust them enough to cover that puck line. We'll see what they're able to do here at home. This is the first night of a back-to-back for the San Jose Sharks. They have the Jets on deck tomorrow. I do think it will be a fade for the Sharks tomorrow, but in this one here, I'm going to look at the points. I'm going to look at the goals. Now, who do I think is going to get on the scoreboard for the San Jose Sharks? Tyler Toffoli, he had 4 shots on goal in the last game and 1 goal. I'm going to look at him for the first period goal. First period goal at +750. His anytime goal at +190. Celebrini is still on the IR, but the other rookie, Will Smith, long shot goal scorer here. He's coming in at +430. He had 0 shots on goal in the last game, but in the games prior, he was averaging right around 13.5 minutes on the ice. He was able to account for 2 shots on goal in both of those. You can look at his shots on goal prop. Tonight, I would take that to the over. I'm expecting more out of him versus a weaker defense here in the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, let's look at the Chicago Blackhawks. Connor Bedard, you know we have to circle him. Home opener here. Connor Bedard, first period. Anytime goal +650. Connor Bedard for an anytime goal for the game at +145. Now, you've also got Tyler Bertuzzi, but Teravainen here versus Edmonton. 2 goals. 2 assists, and yes, he was held off the board versus Calgary, but I do think Teravainen in this home opener is a play on. His assist tonight coming in, or his anytime goal coming in at +200, his assists at +132. Top power play, top line here with Connor Bedard. I could see the points coming in. I can see the assists coming in. I can see the goal coming in. I think it's a strong night for him. And then you've got Taylor Hall as well. So those are all players I'd look at. Maybe parlay all of those points together, you guys, on the regular. Seth Jones, anytime goal. I do like Seth Jones tonight as well. Good point out, Kevin, for him. And last but not least, you guys, we have the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Seattle Kraken. The juice keeps ticking up for the Seattle Kraken. They're -140 right now on the money line, +116 for the Flyers. Flyers have been on the road on this West Coast trip for a long time, you guys, at +116. I love a road dog, but I can't get behind it here. I think the Seattle Kraken are the right way. Total 5.5. -130 to the over and +106 to the under in this one. We have Seattle coming home off a road trip. Grubauer is expected in goal and Ergen expected here for the Flyers. Now, the power play converting strong here for the Philadelphia Flyers at 26.7% of the time. They're averaging a high number of shots on goal. They're getting those high danger ones as well. 33.7 shots on goal per game, but only 2.67 goals actually clicking. When we look at the power play here for Seattle, they need to pick it up. It's only converting at 11.1% of the time, and the kill is strong for the Flyers. That kill is 85.7%. They are allowing those goals to come in, though, and they're taking a ton of penalty minutes. They're one of the worst teams for getting the penalties, averaging 18.3 minutes in the box. You cannot give your opponent that many times to be up a man and be able to get those goals on the board. We do see the Seattle Kraken Average on their kill, 77.7%. They take limited penalties. They're under half, almost a third of what Seattle or what the Flyers do with Seattle, only at 7.8 penalty minutes per game. Last game of a West Coast road trip here for the Flyers. They're a fade for me, you guys. It's Seattle on the money line at minus 140. With this juice tipping up, minus 1.5 at plus 180. Could I see it happening? Absolutely. The Flyers spend as much time in the box. We're going to see the Kraken start to convert on the power play. I will sprinkle a little bit on the Seattle Kraken, laying 1.5 at plus 180. I can see this game being a 3-1 style. Now, Owen Tippett has been solid for the Flyers, but I think this team is going to be tired. If you're looking for goal scorers here, let's just pull them up for the Kraken. Jared McCann coming in at plus 220. Definitely think he's someone you want to circle tonight, as well as Jordan Eberle coming in at plus 240. If you go further down the list here, Chandler Stevenson, I am expecting a lot out of him in this game. I'm expecting him to step up. He's coming in at plus 470 for the anytime goal. Circle it twice for me. I do think he gets on the board. But you guys, that is all 11 games in 40 minutes. We made it through all of them. I want to thank everyone that's made it through the whole video. I promise you, I'm going to start bookmarking these shows so you can jump to the exact game you want. But each and every day, we will be talking every single game on the board, my leans, picks, props, and predictions in each and every one of these. So it's daily, noon Eastern. If you're missing this live, if you're live, you know, noon Eastern every day. Monday through Sunday. We're not going to miss a single day during this NHL season, you guys. I promise you that. So join me here. We'll talk. I also want to hear your feedback. Let us know what you're liking today, what you're parlaying, who you're taking for those points. If you got that anytime goal scorer, look at those first period goal scorers as well, you guys, because they have been cashing here. Austin Matthews for the goal in the first period. I tell you, he was able to get on the board, get those goals. He was phenomenal yesterday. But thank you so much. Again, check out the SportsGrid app later today for my Madden Quickie. We've got Thursday night football. It's hard to believe it is already Thursday. It will be a packed weekend, you guys. All the best in all of your bets. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here. Have a good day. Make some freaking money, okay?